right, June 2019. We're here with Dave Flom from Eden Prairie, Greg Miller from Armstrong, Steve Bender, retired now, Rosemount and Lakeville,
Good gig.
and John Oxton from Lakeville North and Lakeville. Let's just start with this. You guys just kind of give me your background, where you grew up, how you got into basketball, how you got into coaching, that led you to high school basketball coaching here in Minnesota at your respective schools. So you want to go first, Dave?
Okay, yep, so this is my 13th, just finished my 13th year at Eden Prairie. Before arriving at Eden Prairie, I was at Gustavus Adolphus College for 3 years as an assistant. Before that, I was head coach in the Watertown Mare. Before that, I was at Chaska as an assistant coach, and then graduated from Gustavus in '95. So actually, history with these guys going all the way back to, I guess, when I was an assistant at Chaska in '95, '96. Which, so grew up in Cannon Falls, and I don't know, we'll maybe get actually into a Trent Tucker story I've got. That's have you heard that story before?
No, I'm curious.
Well, that would take a long time. So, but
Greg's got a lot to say.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
From what I hear.
So, anyways, bring that up because one of my first real basketball experiences when I went to basketball camp at Trent Tucker basketball camp in Guy Calland at Carleton, and that's a certainly memory from long ago that I beat Trent Tucker in a one-on-one, and he flew me to New York for a Knicks game when I was 18 years old.
You did tell me that story.
Wow. Yeah, which is a pretty fascinating story.
I never heard that.
I was 18 when he flew me out there. First time ever in a plane, anything.
I never heard that story.
Cool. I haven't heard that. So how'd you get into coaching?
My dad was head coach for basketball, baseball, football growing up, and I always just loved being around kids, around sports, and kind of something that I had a passion for from, I don't know, I coached actually when I was in high school. I coached baseball and basketball, so going way back, so.
Great.
I started playing basketball in Robbinsdale when there were the Robbinsdale Robins. Played for legendary coach Hib Hill, and we always had some great games with the Jaguars, and it was always a packed crowd and a lot of fun. One experience when I was really young was the Cairo basketball camp out in Annandale, Minnesota. Outdoor courts. We had Flip Saunders there, Kevin McHale, Steve Bender made an appearance. Sue Starner kind of ran that thing. And made a lot of connections that later on in my life I would use to, get advice and help me get coaching jobs and stuff. And us three, we have a common person who hired all three of us, and that's Harry McClenahan, who was athletic director, basketball coach at Lakeville, and then became the head principal there.
Okay.
So that's interesting. He hired, he hired me as a substitute teacher and a coach of 3 sports back in Lakeville, and then John Oxton and I. Well, first Steve Bender and I, we coached 1 year together. Then
when it was just Lakeville.
At Lakeville.
Yeah.
And when it was still just Lakeville, Oxton and I coached together, and then we opened the new Lakeville North School as well. And we were there together for 5 years, and we made the state tournament. It was the first time Lakeville had ever made the state tournament, so it was a really big deal. I mean, busloads of people there. It was a small farm town for a long time, and it made that transition to suburb. So in '95, we were 11-11 in the Lake Conference, which is the tough league, and then we went down there and beat 2 Rochester teams to get to the state. We're really top 5 teams in the state in the rankings, and we beat Bender's team.
Who did we beat in the final?
We beat Bender's team in the finals, and his team.
Good memory.
His team was similar in that they weren't expected to be in the championship game either. In fact, they had a worse record than we did during the season. Went on this run. Back in those days, you had to win 4 games to get to state. Yeah. And we met in the finals, and you had a guy named Jackson, I think, right, who was a really good player.
Tom Jackson, yeah.
Yeah. And I remember that was a bittersweet thing, more sweet than bitter, but I was good friends with Bender, and sad to see him lose, but it was great for us. And then we actually won a game in the state tournament. It was against Cold Spring Ricori, so we beat the legend there. That was pretty awesome. Brink, he was a good coach. And so we had some great players on that team. It was a lot of fun. So from there, then I went down to, that helped me get my first head coaching job at Richfield High School. And I loved it in Richfield. It was a great place. There for 6 years. Probably wouldn't have left except my hometown job opened up. Robbinsdale was no more the Robbinsdale Robins, but Armstrong was there, and that opened. And so I coached there for the last 17 years. And then actually this last year I got out of teaching and coaching in Robbinsdale, retired, and then semi-retired. I'm coaching at Hamlin.
Oh, okay. All right. Steve?
I grew up in Richfield, graduated in '74. Stu Starner was my coach, big influence on me. And then I went to actually Colorado State for football. Then I played basketball there too, and then transferred to Minnesota Morris. Graduated from there in '79. Rich Class was my coach there. Went with him to Willamette University for a year when I graduated. He went out there. Then I came back and was an assistant at Richfield. Then went to Lakeville. Harry got me out to Lakeville from '81 to '86. Testing my memory here. And then '86, I started at Rosemount and was head coach there for 21 years. And then I was assistant at Burnsville with Doug Bull, Paul Gates at Eastview. And I've been retired for 4 years, and like I said, it's a good gig. So, but a lot of good influence from Stu Starner and, like I said, Rich Glass, and developed my love of basketball because of them. And great memories playing here, play as a player, and then coaching here too. So some good memories and some bad memories, especially when you were a senior. Beat us by last regular season game. I'll never forget this. Beat us by, I think, 30. Something like that. They ended up winning state, but we went to state that same year, that first year. So, but a lot of good memories. So,
John, background.
Grew up in Fargo, North Dakota. Born and raised there. Went to North Dakota State. Actually started coaching while I was in college, and that's actually how I got into it. My dad was a truck driver. Nobody in my family was in education. Basically, none of my brothers and sisters played sports or anything like that. And for whatever reason, I just kind of was a sports guy my whole life, and baseball, football, basketball, and was going to college to be a business major. Guy told me, hey, you could be a 7th grade football coach. Why don't you try that? I'm like, sure, I'll do that. And if a way to make some extra money. Absolutely loved it. Got done, and I'm like, what do I have to do to be able to do this all the time? And they're like, well, most people become teachers, and so I became a teacher. They're like, what do you want to teach? I'm like, I don't know. I guess, I don't know. I like games. How about Phi Ed? So did Phi Ed, and I've been doing that for 35 years. Right when I graduated from NDSU, I went out to Montana, coached in a small town named Wilsall, Montana for 2 years. Then I went to Gardner, Montana for 4 years, and was fortunate enough to have great players, and people thought I knew what I was doing. And so then I ended up making my way to Lakeville through Harry McClanahan and Stu Starner, and ended up at Lakeville. Didn't know anybody. They told me that Greg was my assistant, and that was just a huge blessing for me. I thought I knew everything, and realized I didn't know a whole heck of a lot. And we had some great times together, and just super, super fun. And then we became Lakeville North High School, and so I've been there a long time. So this is my 29th year. Just got done with my 29th year. Took 2 years off to watch my daughter play. Her last 2 years of high school, probably the smartest thing I ever did. And but yeah, so it's been super fun, and just intertwined with all of these guys I've coached. With everybody here, coached against them, and pretty cool.
Did you guys pretty quickly know that you wanted to get into coaching? Some guys it takes a while. Some guys are 10 years old and they know they want to be a coach and a teacher in high school. How did that decision go to you, for each one of you guys?
Yeah, for me it was, I go to college to be a business person, and I got that first taste of coaching. I'm like, this is unbelievable. This is so much fun. And just, like I say, there was nobody in my family with that background, and it's just been an absolute blessing for me. It's been so fun, and just dealing with kids, and super fun people that you get to be involved with, in the competitive atmosphere, and so for me it took a while.
My dad was a coach, just like Dave's dad, and he was a football coach, and he also tried to coach basketball too.
He tried to.
Yeah, that was an interesting thing. But he was a great football coach. He coached at University of St. Thomas, and coached at Benilde St. Margaret's, some other places. So it was in our family through my dad. My 3 brothers are coaches as well. So that's how I got into it.
Richfield days got me going. Just being
So
at
you were in high
Richfield.
school when this
When in
happened.
high school, through Stu Starner, and got to know Flip right after that too, and And like John said too, to be a coach, you know, when education went hand in hand, so I got into education when I went to college, and as I knew I wanted to coach, so.
How about you, Dave? Pretty quickly?
Yeah, I just, you know, I think like everybody, you want to play as long as you can, and at some point you can't play anymore, so you want to stay involved, and coaching is an option, you know, so. And yeah, any way to stay in the game and competitive, and yeah, from the time I was in high school. I do want to add that one of the most influential coaches I had was when I went to Gustavus as a freshman and played in the JV team. Rob DeCourcy was my JV coach. And in all honesty, I learned more in that 1 year than I did in all of my high school years combined, without any question. So Rob does get a lot of credit.